Hey everyone, James here, going to be bringing you another Italian genre film review, continuing the theme of late Umberto and Lenzi Giallis. Going to be also releasing an episode just on his Giallis in general, which, covers quite an interesting range. Talked a bit about that on the episode on Spasmo. And so Eyeball is kind of an interesting companion to Spasmo, just because they are so different from one another. They kind of show you the two different directions that they can, the Gialli genre can diverge. Spasmo diving more into like the psychology and things like that of the characters, and Eyeball lending very much into kind of like that post-Bird with the Crystal Plumage, but of course before that blood and black-based mode that is very familiar with for a lot of Giallo fans. So this one has even more of the tropes and has one of those things where you're getting those set pieces every 10 to 15 minutes. So this one, it comes out later. It actually comes out 2 months before what many people, including I think myself, would consider to be the greatest, if not one of the two greatest Giallis of all time, Deep Red. And so this is Lenzi's final Gialli, unless you kind of count his slashers that come much, much later. I tend to not. Those films are... they're a little different in my opinion, whereas this one I think does very, very squarely fall into that Gialli category. So why to watch this film? Similar to Spasmo, it's ludicrous, but it's very well-paced Gialli that kind of has your regular group of people where you kind of know that the killer is very likely going to come from one of them, and you just have these regular set pieces where we're getting kills every 15 minutes or so. In that sense, it follows a very similar plotline to something like 7 State Orchis, or even something like Knife of Ice. So if you like those tropes, which I do, this one is going to be perfectly satisfying. That being said, I don't think it does necessarily too many things outside of kind of what you expect from the genre. So while there is kind of a certain floor for these things, if you like them, this film is going to be enjoyable if you like those different tropes. There's also kind of a ceiling that limits this, and it doesn't do a lot of things that would kind of make it stand out a little more. Whereas Spasmo, I think, is more of a standout. This one fits very, very squarely into kind of that post-Argento, but also Mario Bava mode. And for me, at least, I talked a little bit about this in the last episode, is that Lenzi's strengths are in having very little limitations and very, very shameless in his filmmaking. And so in this sense, there are a few flourishes that are kind of fun. There's like a lot of uses of red, although I wouldn't say this is one of his more beautifully filmed Giallis. I think Spasmo looks better. There's like this great eyeball box that we get. It also kind of functions as this travelogue through Barcelona. For me, at least, I really enjoy kind of just traveling to all these different kind of Mediterranean settings and European cities, and kind of just the rich architecture and things like that you can see. For me, at least, that kind of ambiance and that sort of dream lounge-like music that you're getting from someone like Bruno Nicolai really stands out. In fact, the best thing about this film very well might be kind of that very lounge music soundtrack that you're getting from Bruno Nicolai. And so there's, a decent amount of flair for some of these kills, but I wouldn't say this film particularly stands out, especially when we have such luminaries like Argento, and I don't even think this is close to Lenzi's most stylish Gialli. Definitely can get into some nasty territory. It doesn't hold back on the sleaze and the nudity. I'd say overall this is probably paced a little bit better than something like Spasmo. It's similar to something like 7 Bloodstained Orchids. It's just a very, very breezy, easy watch. Perhaps my favorite kind of just random, insane thing about this film is that the tour group is from Burlington, Vermont. So, 4 or 5 years before Bernie was the mayor there, which is just bizarre. I don't know how they picked Burlington out of a hat. It's just not a city that I've ever really seen featured in films, let alone a European film about people traveling in Barcelona. So I just get a crack out of it every time they're mentioning Burlington there. In the end, I guess I don't have too much to say about Eyeball. I find this to be perfectly watchable. A lot of Lenzi's Giallis I group together in kind of like this category of being enjoyable but not particularly great. And for me, at least, this one fits right into that. Even though Spasmo also probably fits into that category, I think they have different strengths and weaknesses for sure. I think Spasmo is certainly more ambitious, even if they kind of end up in the same sort of caliber of film. So yeah, thank you all for tuning in. I hope you all enjoyed this episode. Hope to be continuing to bring some more Italian genre film reviews. This one was a relatively quick review. I don't have too much to say about this one. This one's just very, very by the numbers. But anyways, I rewatched it recently and wanted to talk about that too. Okay, so thank you all for tuning in. Let me know how you like Eyeball. Let me know how you rank Lenzi's Jollies. That's going to be the next episode that I do. And I will see y'all next time. Cheers.